Hello, everybody, and happy Easter Sunday. We have finally made it to the pinnacle point. It's grand finals of BTS Americas 4, and it's come down to the final two. From South America, Team Infamous, formerly known as Team Unknown, if you remember from the Frankfurt Major, going to be going up against the ragtag group of talented NA stars here in Shazam. It's going to be a hell of a show, a hell of a doozy, a full best of 5 coming your way right now. KotLGuy for Beyond the Summit. I'm going to be joined by the one and only Blaze. This man's been through many BTS Americas by my side with many other casting credentials, obviously. This guy's a stud. Blaze, I welcome you once again here for the final show. And I want to ask you, coming into this tournament, would you ever thought we would be seeing Infamous and Shazam in the grand final? And also, what are your odds on this matchup?
It's actually pretty tough to call. I mean, obviously, going back to the beginning here, we had some really big names. First, we were actually looking at Archon before they split into 2 teams. Then the majority went to Fire, so we get to see them actually eliminated in round 1. And Digital Chaos were also participating in the tournament until all this roster shuffle gone. So I think the biggest wild card factor in this tournament has actually been kind of exterior. It's been the whole deal with all the roster locking and all this kind of upward mobility that's been recently available to the North American scene. So it's definitely changed the dynamic quite a bit. It's going to change the dynamic for the North American scene going forward, I would say. But for this right now, I would say that I'm not entirely surprised to see Shazam here, that they were able to do so much in like the Shanghai qualifier, and they have proven themselves to be a very solid team. But Infamous, definitely, they had their work cut out for them making it this far, and love to see them here. As far as the matchups, I do favor Shazam. I would have to say that it's maybe like it's either 60-40 or 65-35. Like, it's still very well within the realm of possibility that Infamous could take this away, but I do favor Shazam going into it, and we'll have to see how the drafts play out. It does seem already like Infamous have done the research. Bang is banning out some key players for Shazam, specifically the Brax Darkseer, which was something when MSS was offlaning that we didn't see much Darkseer, but when Brax started switching that offlane role, they picked up a ton of Darkseer, and it actually leaves Beastmaster in the pool for once.
It's a tricky thing when you're going up against a talented group of players like the ones on Shazam. They all can be pretty much hybrids in their own right. TC, we've seen play mid and core. Brax, we've seen play mid and offlane. Mojo's played support. He's played offlane. He's played mid. And why is this slipping my memory? Who is OVO? They just changed their name, didn't they?
Fun. Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. Okay, it is Jason. All right, trickster. Anyways, when you're going against such hybrids like that, it's never easy to ban against them. And we've already been seeing a lot of success, as you mentioned, on Brax and his offlane potential. But we know him to be just as good as with a Beastmaster. And I would still find Beastmaster more of a scary offlaner on your team than a Darkseer. So it really forces you to just isolate what you think is going to be the best possible bans, and it might not more so be the respect towards Shazam and Brax, but more so our lineup would be better if we didn't have to worry about a Darkseer on top of it. So it's kind of, you have to let through just something amazing for him. But look at the interesting pickup, and this could be the one thing going for Infamous, though. While many might look at them in this matchup as underdogs, they have shown in that last series against Team Freedom, where they were probably underdogs as well, that they're willing to pull out anything crazy. And if they feel like it's going to work, they'll go for it. And yesterday we saw them pull out the Huskar. It was only the second time we have even seen Huskar this patch in competitive play, and they made it look like it was just something natural, like picking up a bike again. Shazam have to look out for that, Blaze. They're going to be opening with an Abaddon and a Witch Doctor. Shazam follow up their Beastmaster with the OD. And I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but to add on the end of the note on this, the last time I casted Shazam with Ryu Boris, he felt Mojo's OD is a little lackluster. You know, it could be because he's rusty in the mid lane with some of these new meta heroes, but we'll have to see if that's going to be a factor this game.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he has had less competitive experience of recent time with that type of hero. The closest thing would be Lone Druid, which he got to play a lot in the off lane, but generally speaking, that hasn't really been his role. So I would say it's just kind of shaking the dust off. OD is not really the kind of hero that you have to be like the best OD player in the world to make this hero work. He can definitely fit into a lot of lineups and to great effectiveness, but this is just going to set up Shazam for a really good set of cores in terms of control, in terms of damage output, but I am a little bit worried that this Abaddon is going to be able to counteract the Beastmaster Roar too effectively. Between Witch Doctor and Abaddon, you've got a lot of counterplay. Obviously, they group up, you cast them, and then of course the Aphotic Shield on the Primal Roar. I feel like there's a lot of turnaround potential for Infamous, and Shazam have to take that into account. They are respectfully banning out the Huskar. This is something that Brax feels is worth banning out in Phase 2 just because of the wildcard factor, that a lot of Infamous's alternative strats are comparatively weaker and less threatening. So just taking that off the table definitely opens up the table to where they feel like they're at an advantage. And Infamous banning out the Sven here. They're still focused on banning cores, even though they've got their supports in my mind. I mean, maybe they offlane the Abaddon, and that can work fine, but either way, they have at least one support in the Witch Doctor. So in my mind, once you have that under wraps, and Shazam already picked up 2 cores, you don't really want to be banning out the TC heroes. He's got a ton of heroes to choose from. I would actually be focusing on banning supports at this point in time, but they're going to go ahead and take out the Sven instead.
They could also be considering, there is a Nature's Prophet still out there, surprisingly, and we know Sven to be very good against it. I wonder if it's something they're considering incorporating in their play, but I also agree with you. TC has a very deep hero pool, and I would hope so. It's more just respect towards that. And, Shazam, they take the nod. Obviously, the respect I was just saying with the Huskar, they eliminate him because he's something just very scary to be going against here, even though the Formidable Dazzle doesn't seem to be popping up. Bounty Hunter also got taken out of the picture because I guess any sort of allowing Mojo to really make do with what he's got on the OD, whether he's rusty or not, a Bounty Hunter is not going to make things any easier, so just kind of making sure he's not going to have too difficult of a time. And the secondary ban here from Infamous for the second phase is going to be the Jug. So lots of targeting towards the cores here. And Infamous going to be pulling out the Viper, one of the dynamic trio, I like to call it, Viper, OD, and Razor as the true mid lane dominators, especially during like the TI3 era. Viper is right there going to be able to swing the punches against OD.
And this gives less incentive to an idea that I had for Shazam, which is they could pick up a silencer. Against the Abaddon and the Witch Doctor, whenever you go in for the Primal Roar, if you go for the Global Silence, you prevent the shield from dispelling the Roar. You also make it very difficult for Witch Doctor to get a Death Ward out against the silencer. So I actually love the idea of like a support silencer pickup. But Viper is a hero that is barely affected by the hero whatsoever, still is just able to go to town. And it might not be as strong. Maybe they have to change their plan to instead have MSS blinking on the Abba, putting him in the imprisonment so that the Primal Roar will stick. We'll see how they try to kind of counter the counterplay. But for now, they've got plenty of time on their hands. I'm assuming they're going to go for at least a support here. They could obviously go for the TC hero, but I feel they can save that for the 4th pick and leave some ambiguity here. For right now, Infamous, they make it very clear that they don't want a heavy synergy in Shazam's lineup, especially with the attack speed aura that Beastmaster providing and TC's core, banning out Sven and Juggernaut, 2 very attack speed dependent heroes, and also picking up the Viper, which is very good at slowing heroes in terms of movement speed and attack speed. So get some distance, get some kiting potential, and above all have this Death Ball lineup. All 3 of Infamous's heroes are really good in the early to mid game stages, and they want to push towers and take objectives early.
A line will be the choice. They indeed do go for a support grab here. A lot of the more frequent popular pickups for a team like Shazam had been like that Wyvern and even that 4-position Phoenix coming out. Would not put it past either team to maybe consider a Phoenix to still be incorporated in some way. But the heavy lockdown and heavy burst is going to be a valuable tool against the likes of a Viper, against the likes of a Abaddon, or anyone near an Abaddon. You want to be able to take him out before he has the opportunity to get the save there. And being able to take him away is going to be nice. And what the hell?
Wow.
A Keeper of the Light coming out. Not a Keeper of the lineup, or Keeper of the Light kind of a lineup per se, but what is... It doesn't look like it synergizes at all with, like, how we used to see him used as a taxi service, getting the likes of a PL and a Naga across the map, utilizing his capability on stalling out a game with his ridiculous amount of wave clear. But outside of that, he's just pretty damn pathetic, it feels, for most. No real ganking capability, no good stuns, really. Mana Leak's cute and good, but for a lot of people, they find ways to easily avoid it. Here, though, Blaze, it feels like they might be trying to have some fun with maybe Chakra Magic and its reduced cooldown, maybe put Abaddon by his side a bit. It does feel a bit funky. They might be even just going potentially just more aggro with it, because I find Keeper does his best work in a dual or full aggro lane setup, not just hanging by the safe lane and by the core there.
It's distinctly possible that they're actually going to be trying to go for some kind of dual link composition. The two abilities that kind of scream out to me from Keep It Light here are the Blinding Light and the Chakra Magic, as you mentioned. The Blinding Light, like against OD lineups and against general right-click oriented lineups, you'll see heroes like Tinker with the Laser and Brewmaster with the Drunken Haze being picked up just to really limit the effectiveness of the raw auto attack power from things like the Arcane Orb. So I think the Blinding Light can be very effective this game, but they're going to have to definitely make use of this Chakra Magic as well and kind of maybe get really short cooldowns on the Abaddon so that he can spam out Mist Coils on Aphotic Shields and also just have this unlimited mana pool so that he can beef up a little bit too. It's going to be very interesting. I actually find it even more interesting, though, that the Mirana comes out from Shazam, a hero that can do so much work with the setup of heroes like Lion and OD. A lot of disables coming from them, especially the 4-second imprisonment, can be synced up for some free arrows. But if you see that coming, you can just TP scroll the Abaddon to the appropriate lane, and then he's going to be able to shield off the arrow. So I would say that Abaddon is currently countering at least 2 of the 4 heroes present for Shazam, if not 3.
That does mean he has a lot of jobs to do, though. And
yeah,
you never know. He can slip up, get caught up in something bottom lane with if they do go duel, and the next thing you know, the arrow comes out and he's short on mana. And if he even was the TP, he wouldn't be able to save. So that can be a problem. I agree that he's going to be a serious paramedic this game. That's for sure. The problem is there's too many people dying on the streets, and he can only do so much as it is. I do really like the Mirana, though. We know it already complements the OD very, very nicely, and this could force Infamous to kind of pull back a bit, but they are definitely still continuing this trend of we're dictating our own draft here. We're not being responsive to what you're bringing to the table. We already have our own game plan. They pick up the Alchemist when really Alchemist doesn't seem like a big old thing. Why here and now, though, Blaze? Why the Alchemist?
If you look at it right now, the Alchemist and the Keeper of the Light have massive wave clear between the Acid Spray and the Illuminate. They can kind of control how fast Shazam are able to push anything. Right now, they don't really have any great push heroes other than the Beastmaster. Mirana's Leap can do a little bit to speed Tower Siege, but not really much. So yeah, we're mostly just going to be seeing like the towers stand up for a very long time for Infamous. They're going to be able to make sure that Shazam don't get any easy gold for themselves, and then obviously from there the Alchemist just starts building up a massive amount of income, maybe killing off a few Beastmaster summons, but mostly just keeping the farm rolling, which can turn into Aghanim Scepters for any one of these heroes. All 4 heroes have at least a moderately good Aghanim Scepter upgrade, and we could be seeing Aton, after he gets a couple items for himself, considering actually gifting that to an ally. The last pick here, Mojo Stormset on the Invoker, feels exactly what I expected with TC going to the safe lane. TC OD allows TC and SVG to essentially just dual lane down there, and if it is going to be that Abaddon Keeper of the Light lane, then all you have to do is just, if Abba's ever near the lane, put him in the imprisonment, you arrow him, and of course he can't shield himself, and he can't break that until level 6. So it's actually going to be a really good lane configuration for Shazam, and we'll see how they address the Alchemist as they approach the mid game.
Sounds good. We'll start things off with your early Sunstrike. Shazam try to get every bit of intel they can. You know, that's when you can easily spot out those spontaneous early TPs to go to the lane, and the next thing you know, they can easily decide and decipher exactly where the wards will pop up, and you're going to be down a bit of vision, and you're going to be down that bit of gold. But Infamous, they're going to do a patent and pull off for them. Early 5-man smoke rotation all the way down towards the bottom half of the map. Could have potential here to catch out some of Shazam's members, and they've been known a lot to get that quick first blood here. But it looks like we're about to get things started, folks. It's just game number 1 of our best of 5 grand final for BTS Americas 4. Shazam taking on Infamous. I can casually roll through some introductions. It is a special occasion there, Blaze, but we have Savage, who's going to be playing the Mirana. Brax nearby is going to be representing his prized Beastmaster hanging in the off lane. But down below here for Shazam, Mojo Stormstout going to be playing the Invoker. He is close to trouble, though, Blaze. That smoke is beginning to roll in, and they are going to potentially be walking right into TC. The ward has been dropped. TC, though, quickly 180s. Gets the hell back. It looks like it could be a lost opportunity here. TC's OD not looking to get caught out. Did not level a spell yet. And by his side, of course, we have OVO, but as we know him, Fun, a.k.a. Jason.
Yep. So obviously they were looking for the first blood and the bounty rune. The ideal there is obviously once you get a kill on somebody, they can't TP back into a full-on engagement. So it eliminates any possible rune contest. But it looks like Atun should still be able to get this Grievel's Greed bounty rune pickup for the bonus 300 gold and get himself up to a very early bottle. That being said, of course, we're still going to be seeing the bounty rune up top go to the Invoker, and no first blood to be spilled just yet. So it is going to be a Abaddon and Keep It Light, Greedy, and Bang going into this off-lane roll set, and they're just going to try to fight it out as best they can. But if Mirana does start roaming towards that bottom lane, then she can definitely create some kill opportunities. For now, though, we see SVG is kind of stocking up in the enemy jungle. Courier is actually not too far from him, but more importantly, he's looking for his opening on Viper in mid.
Yeah, we'll continue to check this one out and see if he's going to be able to line up the shot, but Arrow is not going to be on the market. Looks like Kotaro will be away from the trouble, and it will be a Viper versus Invoker mid lane matchup. And that leaves Atun to the top lane there as we get a 2-1-2 setup here. And, part of the reason I just like KotL in these kind of off-lane setups is, he can freely, once he gets a couple levels, definitely level 3. It depends how he levels it up. I've seen more people starting to put favor into the early point of Mana Leak. The range does stay pretty short, but the amount it does drain has now been static right at level 1. So you can get them to really lose all of their blue bar. He's looking to move in here, and he's got to be a bit cautious. It could be an easy lineup of lockdown, and we know KotL already to be a pretty frail old man, but, luckily for him, he's got Abaddon nearby, and he's just doing his best to zone back and allow this Abaddon to, well, be greedy.
Yeah, well, I think that the key thing to keep in mind is that the Keeper Light's actually in no danger in this lane. Although he can be considered frail and low durability in general, he's got 315 movement speed and he's got the ABBA with him. So in almost any laning configuration, the ABBA is more vulnerable than his allies because it's so much easier to focus him and to burst him during disables, where he can't actually shield himself because obviously he's disabled. Whereas the alternative is you Hex and Earthspike the KotL, and the Abaddon is always going to be right there to save him. So I actually feel like Bang is going to be able to move pretty freely here. You see him being very aggressive with his Illuminates, getting some action in the Radiant jungle, as well as just forcing out the lane directly.
Would predict he would probably look to max out the Chakra Magic early. Doesn't have any sort of clarities on hand to just put the extra emphasis into the Illuminate sooner, but we'll have to see. And plus, with having the Abaddon, he just would benefit so much more from a shorter cooldown and getting so much mana on top of it. So we'll continue to watch this lane and observe. And mid lane, the matchup of Invoker versus the Viper. Invoker and Viper pretty neck and neck as far as the CS game goes. We'll see if the Invoker is going to be able to ramp it up as the levels do come in, but we have to keep tabs as top. Brax has been pump faking this a bit. Savage is now in Viz. They're looking for the shot. The arrow, though. Good hesitation plays coming out from Infamous, but Acid Spray is going to be dropped. The axes go out. Brax is going to be picking up the first blood by taking down Excel, and Atun is not going to be able to find his own response. Shazam will be able to strike first in game number 1.
Very nice moves against the arrow, but nevertheless, they will be able to find the kill just with the 1 point in Whirling Axes. Now, Beastmaster, or Wild Axes, he's got the Healing Staff bringing him up to full. He just picks up a Pulling Blade. I think that means he is going to be going for that Iron Talon.
Ooh, Keeper's in trouble bottom, Blaze. They had set up a nice little Astral, which led to the stun, which led to the kill. Greedy, the shield, not going to get close enough to do the damage, and he will also be going down. Oh, disaster on the bottom here for Infamous. Leads to 2 more kills for Shazam.
Yeah, just playing very aggressive right now, and the Lion hitting that kind of peak point of level 3, where he's going to be able to bring the most in terms of damage and disable for the lane. And of course, OD is perfectly happy to oblige, even get some Arcane Orb in very early. 2-1-1 build is a little bit risky to play around with as far as your mana pool goes, because you're less likely to get those Essence Aura procs, or you get the same chance, but it's less value. So it's definitely going to be something where he did get some value out of it, but he needs to kind of manage his mana very carefully until he approaches like level 6 and level 7.
Haste Rune was bottom. KotL's going to pick that one up. He's been doing a nice job blasting, messing with the creep pole. He's even made a nice stack on the side for once he gets some more levels into the Illuminate. And top lane, though, Excel gets hit on the backside with a nice arrow. Lead in Savage has the point into Starstorm, and that is going to be enough to allow Brax to be able to get the sweep. Now 4-0. Shazam, very hot start for them. And Savage has been doing very good, just kind of keeping tabs across the mid and top lanes here, keeping Infamous guessing and taking advantage of their lanes being a bit on the weak side, especially this top one.
Absolutely. And we see that MSS is actually doing quite well on the mid lane right now. He is actually 18 and 13. This deny is very important here against the Viper, who is 17 and 10 himself. Kotaro is definitely not going down without a fight, but currently the Evoker has the advantage in terms of the 1 versus 1, as well as the potential to just add a Sunstrike to any lane. If you get some good guaranteed lockdown, or even just a couple of boar slows, you can get a pretty reliable Sunstrike out. And well, none have yet been on the mark. In general, MSS is putting out that threat, where the Viper is very stagnant. He's very focused on just winning his lane, and while he has some more kill potential against MSS when he gets his Viper Strike up here very briefly, it's still MSS who's putting out more pressure on against the Dire and causing more guesswork for Infamous.
Oof, arrow out mid lane is going to be a miss, as the Viper was more insistent on zoning back MSS. Bottom lane, Sunstrike after the Astral, nicely connected there from MSS, and that will lead to a TC kill. 5-0, the hot streak continues here for Shazam.
Yeah, and you can set that up all day long with heroes like Murano, with heroes like the OD, and you can get that very reliably. So the Abba, once again, very easy to burst down, and it's actually going to be a bad end that while he is rotating now down to the bottom, and he might confront the lane once more, he's going to have to start considering just going into the jungle. He's got his Iron Talon Stout Shield, which is all you really need to build yourself up. And then, of course, KotL is a great hero to just hold the tower.
Yeah.
To just keep on illuminating and to make sure at least that the tier 1 won't fall.
Yeah, you'll always get a guaranteed bit of XP and farm with the benefit of that Illuminate Blast, keeping him so far back. It will not stop OD from farming himself, but maybe you'll get a casual shot in and force them to kind of chew through some regen. But Abaddon hasn't gone too far yet. He's paying a visit into the jungle where Savage is. Maybe could have thrown an early arrow, but obviously not going to nearly have enough. And, well, I don't know if that arrow was meant for Abaddon, but he will take the bear right in front of him and get that easy chunk of change. Shazam have now put some extra priority towards his bottom lane because, well, Brax has been the highest CS farmer for Shazam right now on this Beastmaster. We already talk about Plenty Blaze, how Brax can do so much in the offlane if he's given the opportunity to farm it up. He's near level 7 at this point. How long before we see Brax begin to make his move across the map?
Well, I mean, I still think that his main target is actually going to be the Alchemist, but unfortunately the Alchemist is so tanky that he actually might have to be forced into a rotation where he goes in the Viper or something. I guess with their first smoke is going to be the main idea. I don't think you want to wait as long as for the Moonlight Shadow to come out from SVG, so I think they just go for a smoke play within the next maybe 90 seconds, and then they try to go for a roar on the Viper or some such, because going on a tune, it's very haphazard. This guy's got so much raw regen, he's got the armlet toggle potential. If they can roar into arrow, into Sunstrike, they definitely have the damage, but I think the focus is bottom.
Yeah, Astral and some extra bit of harassment here, but it ain't going to be that easy to take down Greedy. And now he's looking to build up what looks like his Tranquils. KotL will be able to step back. He's got his own Tranquils now. But still, as a KotL at this point, not really able to contribute a whole lot for the other lanes. So back to the farming grind. Their team certainly does have a serious plethora of Agnum's candidates here. So I'm curious to see how the buildup will be for Alchemist, if he cares about that kind of, that part of the game or not. Or if he's going to go more focused. With Armlet as mid lane, they are going to make the jump. There's a nice stun leading in for Kotaro. Sunstrike and even Savage leaping in. But do they have the burst potential? That wand keeps him alive. Bang's going to step in. Fires off the Illuminate and is going to be able to get the kill on for the Lion. Now Savage is going to be the follow-up takedown. This Viper, a lot more tanky, a lot more girthy than you'd suspect. And all that Buckler certainly doing a number. He doesn't even need the boots. He's happy to stand in plant here. And well, I don't know if he had it for the fight, but level 4 Corrosive Skin also will not help at all being able to take down the Viper.
Yeah, one big mistake from MSS, his Sunstrike split between Kotaro and a Siege Creep, so he's only able to get half damage out of that Sunstrike, which would have absolutely burst Kotaro before he even had the chance to pop the Fairy Fire. Instead, he walked away from that exchange, and it might even kill MSS here. Fairy Fire comes out, but it's actually still going to be the death of the Invoker, and Kotaro is just tanky enough with the Magic Wand that Fun might go down, at least going to be poked back underneath his tower, and Kotaro stands strong, 2-0-1 on the Viper here in mid.
One of the more manly Vipers I've been seeing in a while really can recognize the opportunity that he can push this hero to the limits. We don't know Viper to be a very flashy kind of hero. I'm not going to see Noob from UA put anything from Viper out there, I feel like, ever. But being able to know the limitations of the hero, when you can stand and fight and when you might need to turn and run or call out for assistance, Kotaro seems to know pretty damn well and has already been able to take advantage of 2 different situations, and they're able to walk away the victor here. Still do have to play quite a bit of catch-up. It was a hot 5-0 start for Shazam, but they have quickly been able to crawl back with 3. We'll switch over to the net worth, and believe it or not, the top 2 both belong to Infamous, and the overall net worth is already 2K their direction.
We're going to see a very interesting build-up from TC here on the OD. Actually going to be rushing out a Veil of Discord, which a lot of people will be scratching their heads at, and the fact that OD does a lot of pure damage with his auto attacks, but he still does a whopping amount of magical damage with his Sans Eclipse, and it's not just for him, it's for his entire team. The Mirana, when she gets her Star Storm maxed out, could do quite a bit of AoE magic damage. We've seen Arteezy actually experiment with a little bit of Veil of Discord Mirana, and then of course the Meteor combo can still come into play as well, which is magic damage entirely. So the final thing I'll note for this is just how cost efficient this item is in terms of intelligence per gold. This thing gives 18 intelligence and only costs him 2,200 gold, so not too shabby.
Looks like a setup is in order here from Shazam. Smoked up Vape Nation here as they move up and through. Might be able to catch out a farming A-Tune here who's holding his gloves here. Is this his Midas recipe? No, it's a Maelstrom. For this. And oh, right into a roar. Sunstrike. And it's a nice Thunderhammer you got there, but it is going to get blood on it right away. Shazam are able to pick up and take down the big tuna.
Yeah, and it's just with Infamous just kind of waltzing on bottom lane. They saw that there were no TPs, and actually mid lane Bank should just go down to one more hit here. Fairy Fire and smokes the last auto attack, and that will make sure that he will not be going down to that exchange.
Turns right back with Illuminate without a care in the world, knows that he's going to be hiding under the smoke still, having that huge range. Mojo has Sunstrike though. I mean, he can poke him with an auto attack and try to line up the shot, but it looks like that's not going to happen. Oh, he's going to line it up, but it looks like Bang is going to know the wiser here and will be turning back it away. Top lane, Arrow off the mark as they make their move for the Abaddon. Will lead into the Astral, and it suddenly has turned into a 3-on-1, and make it 5 if you count the 4s. Nonetheless, might be difficult to take down Greedy as the borrowed time will be triggered, and Savage is going to be forced to pull out the Moonlight Shadow, but jump in, Sanity's Eclipse, the hammer falls, and it hits Mirana on the noggin. Arrow is going to be bit of a sidestep there. Kotaro will intercept, and that will force Shazam to pull back, but they get a big win there. Another couple of kills their way as they lead 7-3.
Just really good pulling back the damage that comes out from the bar time, refusing to heal the Abba, and as soon as it concludes, just dropping that hammer very effectively. It has a long cooldown here, but they're not really lacking cooldowns, they're lacking opportunities. We actually see that there's not even been much in terms of Primal Roar action. There's been one Primal Roar this game, and that's only an 80-second cooldown. So it's not the time factor that Shazam are having trouble playing around. It's just making sure that they're in position to take opportunities. When you see things like Blink Daggers come out for heroes like OD and Lion, maybe even the Invoker, that will create more opportunities, and also just getting more dominance on the map. As you can see, the top tier 1 and the bottom tier 1 both fell. This opens up more gank opportunities for both sides.
Infamous now kind of feeling a bit more comfortable presenting themselves in the lanes. This is where Viper hits a pretty damn early peaking window here, Blaze. Having the mech on hand now allows them to start making some fights happen near these tier 1s and build up their economy that much further ahead. But Shazam have been playing that farm game very nicely with their own side of the map and have been able to bring the net worth almost back to even at this point. Shazam,
and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
If you look at the actual net worth graph, we've got an Alchemist that has farmed up 8,600. Sure, he doesn't have a Radiance or and he hasn't been focusing completely on farm, no Battle Fear or anything, but the Maelstrom alone allows him to just clear out jungle camps so quickly, and he actually maxed greed over everything. He was 204, and then now is building up his stun. So I really do feel it's impressive that they kept pace to this point, but one more tower, bottom going in favor of Radiant, and mid going in favor of Dire.
Bang will get the level 6. Will Blinding Light back the wave and be able to go to work there. He's built an early bracer because his bones are just so frail and needs to be able to survive in a bit of a fight here. So his dreams of Agnums may not come unless it's handed over from a certain Alchemist. We'll have to see. It's a long game ahead, and the benefit for him is it's always an easy time to farm with that Illuminate being built up. Still only level 2, but now he has that taxi service, and being able to utilize it with someone like Alchemist is very, very nice. Pulls him right down to the bottom lane and away from any potential trouble from the north. But all the meanwhile, Shazam are going to be able to do their own invade here and put down a couple of pretty aggressive wards. This could lead to some trouble in the future for Infamous, But right now, Kotaro stalking Savage here. The leap. Oh, it's going to be coming up short. He goes into Moonlight. Kotaro, if he gets off 2 more shots, maybe he'll be enough. No, not going to be able to get it. Has no detection on hand, and that'll be the end of it.
Would have been kind of pretty interesting if Kotaro had just kind of stood in the choke point there, prevented the Mirana from leaving, and since their leap was on cooldown, they could have brought in the Abaddon and the KotL to reinforce. Still, there's a possibility that Mirana just gets the TP and then gets the Fade time to go invis once more while she's TPing out, but I think it would have been at least worth the attempt. Anyways, more importantly, we are going to be seeing split pressure up top from the Invoker with his Forward Spirits and Ancient play from Infamous as Atune goes on to that multi-stack. But it's the bigger creeps that they're looking for, not just the Ancients, but the big boss in the pit, Roshan, now being attempted by Infamous.
Yeah, they definitely have the arsenal to do so. It looked like they wanted to take it slow, maybe do the camps or use a smoke here, but as this is happening, the Hawk is on the way. We'll spot them out doing it while it's about a quarter of its life, but I don't think Shazam will have the capability of really getting in there and contesting it all. Sunstrike, almost timed nicely to at least try to snipe some extra gold, but it will not be there on time, and it is going to be Kotaro who picks it up on the Viper. He'll have the extra life. He's hard enough to bring down as it is. Now you got to do it twice. Shazam may have to really consider their opportunities for any sort of team fights or just look to avoid them in the meantime.
I think they have the ability to kind of pick their fights a little bit here. They're going to have the Moonlight Shadow for the next big engagement. They have the Blink Daggers, which they might use up top here. Actually, no blinks on these two, but still Bang in a lot of trouble. Blinding Light can't even be cast. The Cold Snap just triggers too hard.
Poor old man. I mean, yeah, you be careful about your fights, but if you see an old man walking alone at night, you know, then please, by all means, punish the poor guy. But for the rest of Infamous, they'll be hanging out nearby, so get what you can and get out.
Just take care that he's not pulling a Willy Wonka here. He's not going to suddenly do some somersaults and actually turn out to be a lot more capable than you expected. But
definitely.
No, an easy pickup for them there, and the OD actually has a blink too, so he should be able to catch people off guard if they're out of position. Atune, for example, is actually being scouted by a Hawk, and although he has an armor, although he has an ultimate, he's also completely solo and could be imprisoned very easily.
You mean like that? Jump in, auto attack even to set up the efficiency from the one and only top Canadian here. Sanity's Eclipse going to be dropped, but still not enough. Plenty of room to toggle with there. And Atune is going to be good. It costs them a Moonlight Shadow, a Sanity's Eclipse, and that is still not going to be enough. Bit of a misplay there, but nonetheless, Shazam are going to be making up for it as they pressure this mid lane, the Necro Book, the Forward Spirits, the Zoo, out in full force, and it claims a Tier 2 tower. Can they make it away from trouble, though? Excel is getting got on, if you will. Finger going to be there from fun, and we'll finish him off. But Greedy has made his curse onto Mojo, turns instead for the Lion. Lion's already TP'd out. And that'll be the end of it. Shazam get what they need. It's not the best target of being able to take down Atune, but they walk away. They get another KotL kill. They get a Witch Doctor, a Tier 2, and they got to be sitting pretty at this point.
Yeah, and I'm actually really impressed how well they were able to just kind of nab those kills and disengage, because the OD had just TP'd top. Like, they were actually committed to, half committed to a fight that they couldn't win in the long run. If all of Infamous committed, the Shazam would have just had to run for their lives, but because they have just quick sources of damage, we're able to burst down the Witch Doctor before the Abaddon could get his heals out. We actually just see that they're able to have their cake and eat it too. They spread the map. They have now taken Tier 2 in mid, Tier 2 in bottom, and half the HP of the Tier 2 up top. And it's just been very effective that Shazam have been able to kind of find these quick little fights that they don't have to fully commit to, and also still create pressure on each and every lane. And
I love the build-up with what we already saw, the potential of OD getting that catch with the big Blink Dagger. Meanwhile, mid lane Savage gets the bad end of a sticky, icky Viper here, and will be easily handled. Kotaro now with a killing spree. Already has his Yasha, could build into a Manta, and that's when we see that like hybrid Viper core build coming out, so we can offer that late game to potential. And obviously doesn't need to really worry too much about Nags. Maybe one day he'll be blessed by one by a fellow teammate here, but in the meantime, with the mobility coming out from Shazam, the catch potential from Infamous isn't the best thing ever, really. It's going to be very difficult for them to be able to make chase. Unless you get a crazy stun off. Top lane, though, they've caught out Kotaro, and man, he gets hit pretty damn hard here from TC. Now, they see the numbers are going to be a turn as Excel shows up. He loves this choke point with that coconut. Will pop it out between the three creeps. Kotaro better be careful not to hurt himself, but looks like they're going to get some free gold.
Yeah, looking for the arrow on Katara. It's going to actually connect here, but they're not going to be able to really follow it up with anything. He already had the shield to block all the damage, and then they're just going to go ahead and push up top. So this was the game plan from Infamous as soon as they took Roshan. It was the attempt on the Alchemist's life on the dire side of the map that actually dissuaded this from happening. Infamous would have taken this top tier 1 about 2.5 minutes ago, if not for the pressure that Shazam put out earlier. But now, there's nothing to dissuade Infamous other than a full-on base race, as they are going for the hard on the top tier 2, while Shazam approached the tier 3 in mid.
Not a good race for Infamous here. We already see one step back by the
cancel
KotL.
TPs?
And if they can get a big TP set of cancels here, it could be trouble here. Fun looking to move in, and they make chase on the line while the rest of Shazam begin to go to work. That's a tier 3 already down. Who's going to be able to get back and stop him from this? Bang eats the arrow. There goes the Starfall, and that is the KotL down. Out for 37 seconds, no buyback. Brack's going to be forced to pull out the roar. Locks Kataro in place, but he's going to get healed up. He's going to get good. Boom! Big drop comes out from TC. And my God, it brings them all low. Quick kill will be on the Witch Doctor. He gets the follow-up takedown, taking out Greedy. That's a double kill for him. And Greedy going to be forced to pull out a buyback as Mojo runs. He cannot go into the Ghost Walk. The stun will be there from a tune. And it looks like it will be a, 3-for-2 split at the end of the day with a buyback. Huge boost of money right there for Shazam and a tier 3 tower to boot.
Yeah, they're able to take the tier 3 mid in exchange for that top tier 2. But the big thing is the Lion's suicide play, essentially setting that up. He blinked in and got the stun on Itun, prevented him from TPing out, and that forced the KotL to make a very difficult decision. The Viper, who because he had Aegis had no TP, or the Alchemist, who just had his canceled and wasn't able to join them. So Bang It could only bring the Viper in that fight, made it much more clear-cut for Shazam, and they're just, once again, really waiting out this Aegis to the point that now they're at equal playing field. The Roshan sneak from Infamous put them in a pretty good position strategically, but Shazam have weathered the storm, and now I think that it's actually favoring them in terms of the fact that they've pushed already so far.
Oh, Excel's
MSS
in trouble. Yep, good rotation, good boots of travel jump here. Can they finally get the Witch Doctor down? It's causing a lot of trouble, and they change course and go for Kataro, the bigger, beefier Viper, and now Mojo going to be stuck without any more ammunition, and he'll just be easily handled on a 3v1. Not as easy of a gank attempt as Shazam were banking on. Infamous are quick to respond, and now they have an advantage in numbers, Blaze. 40 seconds that Mojo will be on the sidelines. We'll have to see how much Infamous can get done down this mid lane while there is split pressure coming from Shazam at the top.
Yeah, I feel like they just kind of misread that situation. They had a couple of good wards kind of seeing the flanking position so that MSS could go in, but it just took too long to get a kill. The Abaddon was there to get the heals out, and in the end, MSS might be showing us a little bit of that recent inexperience on that mid roll, going in a little bit too YOLO, but that will just mean a free tier 2 for Infamous as well as one up top for Shazam. But now this is the big fight. This is what it all comes down to in my mind. If Shazam can hold this, they're going to be smooth sailing moving forward, but they have to take this fight.
Infamous is going fast though. They make quick work of that tier 3. Here comes the mighty meatball from above to try to clear out the wave and push back Infamous a bit. Infamous now against the ropes a little bit if they want to continue this push. We know they don't have the extra life at this moment, and it looks like they will turn back and away, evening up the base damage across both teams now. Shazam looks like they might be thinking about a bit of a chase game here. We know Fun has the Blink Dagger, but all targets are a bit too far. It seems like they'll just take the moment now to go back into a grind of farm. What are the next potential big item pickups here? Brax has already completed out his Blink. He has that Necro 3. Mojo can start building into what looks like the Ags. He just picks up the point booster now. Can they afford this kind of a time, Blaze, on the side of Shazam, knowing you're going against an Alchemist who continues to get bigger and bigger, and we know he adds so much late game potential, not just to himself, but the rest of the team. Should Shazam kind of push the envelope a bit here, or can they afford a little bit of time?
I actually think they have a lot of potential to go and take this late. Obviously, they have to make sure that they're continuing to have a farm advantage. Right now, Infamous are leading by about 2,500, and the Alchemist is a big part of that. But I don't think we're going to be talking too much about late game items because these next couple of fights are still going to be fully committed from both sides. Infamous, they may have fallen back for a brief period of time, but they're right back knocking on Shazam's door.
Arrow will catch Greedy, and it will be a little bit of footsie here. But Infamous are quick to make it back into the base. While that happens, TC is also pushing the bottom path of the base here. So when Infamous do pull out from this mid lane, we could see Shazam go for the jump TP cancel if it does come to that. Boots of Travel are on hand for someone like Mojo in about 10 seconds time, but it looks like Infamous are going to be the ones to take the move instead. They go on the offensive, make their move in. Attune starts chomping away at the racks. Will get stunned up. Deafening Blast is going to be there, but he'll be forced to pull out the BKB. They see this. They pull back. They want to avoid the Giant. But Kotaro has made his move and has been able to get the first blood, taking out the Lion. Fun? Well, he'll be back in the fountain for this one.
Ooh.
They've gotten a hold of the melee racks here, and now they just grab up a tune with the Astral Arrow. Not going to be on the mark. Coconut will fly out. Ooh, Blinding Light comes out from Bang. Will separate the hostility, but Infamous are still content. They've taken a big racks now. And it looks like they're going to take their business towards the top lane base.
I'm not sure about that. I feel like they got what they came for with that melee racks. Now they're kind of maybe overstaying their welcome. They don't have BKB for 40 seconds here. And that's a big aspect of Aton's ability to participate. We're going to see TC continue to build up his intelligence. The meteor will come down. That'll be some good damage. And Kotaro is now completely out of position and getting roared.
Brax jumps in. Kotaro's locked finger comes out, and they'll finally finish him off with a Sanity's Eclipse. But all the meanwhile, A2 was able to make quick work of Brax. Double buyback will be coming out from both MSS and Brax, and that is quick for Infamous to just get the hell out of there. But TC makes the jump. They get a nice two-man stun coming out from Jason. Leads to a triple kill for the top Canadian here. 10-17. A-Tune will draw back, and he'll be the lone survivor for Infamous.
A huge part of that is the fact that the Abaddon died without getting his ultimate off. The Science Eclipse did so much damage with the Veil of Discord on top that the Abba just crumbled before he went below the 400 HP threshold. So a huge amount of damage coming out from TC in that fight, and he profits 1,200 gold for it. They do have to expend 2 buybacks, but even with that, they are still up 1,400 gold from that exchange. I felt like the melee racks was plenty for Infamous. They could start falling back, but talking about this this time bomb aspect, and it might actually be on the other foot. The fact is, there's a Hand of Midas on Mirana, Hand of Midas on Invoker, and OD is, I would say, one of the best scaling heroes here. Sure, he doesn't get that free item slot with the Aghanim Scepter, but that the Alchemist can provide to his teammates, but even still, a 6-slotted OD versus a 7-slot of any of these other heroes, you'll take them any day. So I really feel like there's a lot of potential for Shazam's lineup as they move forward, and they just got a massive gold swing back the other way.
Shazam have been kind of putting their foot forward here towards the top lane, and Infamous will be forced to go back on the defensive and get these lanes pushed right back out, but it's never coming easy here as Brax continues to make his presence towards the top. It looks like Roche potential is out there, and Infamous are going to make their move in, but
they don't see him.
There is a close Shazam squad that they do not see, who are smoked up and hiding under the Moonlight Shadow, it looks like. Arrow's going to be on the mark, quickly catches Greedy. It leads to a 2-man stun. Astral's also there. They quickly rid of Excel. Pops out the dust before he dies, but A-Tune. BKB not going to matter against a Primal Roar. They get locked in place here, and they quickly pull off, but Brax eats huge firepower coming out from Kotaro and company. And will end up going down as they pull back. TC isolates, gets the quick kill, reading out a Greedy, and then gets the follow-up, taking down A-Tune. The big fish will fall, and Kotaro will be forced to retreat along with Bang, as Shazam will make a minor bit of chase. It is them who are going to be walking away now with the Roche, with the Aegis, and definitely with the ball in their court.
Absolutely. This OD is just starting to do so much damage here. The Aegis will go to the Invoker, but like with the attack speed aura and the ability to just kind of stand and fight, TC's been able to do so much work. And now the KotL is actually going to be picked off completely. These supports have proven to be extremely frail and haven't really had the Abba as backup. Like the Witch Doctor just went down without a chance of surviving at the beginning of the fight. And when you don't have to play around Death Ward, when you don't even have to withhold stuns to try to mitigate the effectiveness of the Witch Doctor, you're able to just go so aggressive into the pit. And comboing that with the fact that Infamous didn't even have detection until the fight was already half over, like, it was a really great engagement for Shazam.
So what can Infamous do now? Backs are going to be against the wall here, and they have to consider probably some serious high ground defense soon. To their benefit, they do have some really good wave clear. I mean, you got a KotL on your team. It's one of his few specialties now in Dota, and along with that, an acid spray, coconut casualty, they have ways to kind of hold off this pressure, but when the fight starts coming in and you got the vision of the Hawk coming out and Ghost Walk and now the capability of being able to make the quick jump or even a Moonlight Shadow, the opportunities don't feel that good for Infamous. So they better hope that something is going to be gifted to them, because Shazam have much more opportunities to kind of dictate where the fight's going to happen and on their terms.
Yeah. Well, at least I did see this Moonlight Shadow from SVG, so they are going to be able to back up and avoid any snowballing from Shazam from that point forward. But I think the biggest issue right now is just they're fighting into Aegis, where before it's like you pick up the Invoker, you feel really confident in the rest of the fight, especially because the guy doesn't have buyback for another 3 minutes, but the Aegis completely resets that factor, and you don't really have a clear target to focus. If you try to go on the OD and he still has his blink, he can self-imprison and then blink out, and that just, there's so many different things, but that's among them as far as making it very difficult for Infamous to find a clear target to prioritize. Now, what they are doing to try to hold off Shazam's offensive right now is going for these BKBs, and I think that's very important. They've got a BKB already on the Alchemist, used a couple times here, but now a fresh one on Viper, and hopefully soon one on Abaddon.
We'll see if those BKBs are going to be enough to fend off a lot of Shazam's damage potential. It certainly will do work against MSS. We already saw that with the last BKB used from the Alchemist. It didn't matter against that Primal Roar, which locked him in place. Look at this, big jump comes in. They get the Hex on the Greedy, and then Astral him, so he can't do anything to help out the KotL, and then they'll deal with him now. Starting with a bit of a mana drain. They got some right clicks. They're healing him up to full. And then they'll kill him from
They're
full.
just getting intelligence. TC actually just got 50 intelligence out of those two heroes.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's probably one of the few heroes that you're just more content on beating the ever-living hell out of him, whether he dies or not. And now he's rolling through with a huge damage boost. And Infamous do not have an Abaddon. They do not have their paramedic, if you will, or a KotL to spam out this wave. This is Shazam's time to start walking away with some hefty base work.
Yeah, we're going to see an attempt to split it out with Atune, but we're just going to see Lion play around with him a bunch. He's got a Ghost Scepter, so he's not afraid of the Alchemist directly, and he's just going to stay on top of him and make it very difficult for the Alchemist to get back at all. He's got BOTs. He's going to try to use them now. The Hex won't come out in time, so it's going to be a 4 versus 5 here when the Abaddon respawns, and I don't think Shazam want to take that fight.
Yeah, they pull off. It's a shame because that could have been a huge opening for them, but they still get to walk away with a tier 3 and a couple of pickoffs. Big gold, so they'll take the net worth back overall. It just shows that the game is still relatively close in the farm department, but Shazam have definitely just postured up in a better offensive position. Jump in from Brax here. There's going to be the Roar for Taro. Leads into a Chaos Meteor Sunstrike combo. And just like that, the Viper will be in the grave for about a minute. No buyback. Sanity's Eclipse will also take care of Greedy. Out for nearly a minute. And that could do it. Suddenly becomes a 5 versus 3. Atune, the last big shark in the pool. But a double stun going to be coming out from Jason here. Looks like he might eat some serious tower damage if he's not careful and could go down. But the Ghost Scepter will come out. They've taken now 3 out with the follow-up takedown of Excel. Bottom racks are going to be going down, and they look to make their work towards this mid lane. KotL out. Oh, his hip is broken. He is down. Give that guy his 401k. He is done for good. And I really don't think we'll be seeing KotL again in the near future here, Blaze. Now Atune is going to get slaughtered, and I think the Tau is going to be thrown in any moment.
Yeah, this is the second exchange in a row where TC is able to get the Blink Imprisonment on the Abaddon. I thought it was possible when I saw the draft, but I didn't think he'd be able to get it so consistently. Being able to imprison that Abaddon, save him for later, make it so he can't save his allies, just turns 1 kill into 2 or 3 very quickly, as there's just no way for Infamous to respond. It's very difficult at this point, as they've now lost 2 lanes of barracks to try to keep themselves in this game. No matter how much the Alchemist can buy, no matter how long his shopping list is, it feels like he's trying to fill orders for every holiday and then some.
Now, Infamous scratching their heads as they see their precious home base beaten and tattered here with only 1 more rack separating them from a loss here. It is a best of 3 here for the grand final, but we have seen in many series, especially for a lot of these American teams, you go down in game number 1, the morale can get quickly broken, and we always get to see a lot of quick sweeps, 2-0s across this tournament. So being able to kind of set the tone in game number 1 is a huge boost for the team. And Shazam are already on good pace for it, but one of the lone hopes here, Atune still holding top of the net worth by a good chunk, but it is an Alchemist after all. He's holding a lot of gold here, Blaze. He actually just bought what looks like the Abyssal Blade. Is this good enough for him now? Is he slotted out, and is it time to start maybe investing in some Agdams for the rest of the team?
I feel he still needs a Blink Dagger. Like, how are you going to be able to really take advantage of that Abyssal Blade just running in? The ultimate does give him max movement speed, essentially, but it's still like I feel like Shazam have the means to kite him. He can run in with BKB and get the Abyssal down. If he can get in melee range, he'll be okay on a target. But I feel like it's just so much stronger to instantaneously make that jump. And I would actually trade out either the Armlet or the Yasha for the Blink, and then start building either the Moon Shard or the Aghanim Scepters.
They will have better time now as KotL has his Ags, so he's one of the best late game people to stall out a game as much as possible. He very safely can just spam out those Illuminates from down the lane and leave your Spirit Form to kind of take care of the job. Free TPs and rotations for the rest of your team, so if they decide to boots travel down to a side lane to get a big push in, draw the pressure away from a team like Shazam, he will be there back in the base ready to kind of pull them out if necessary. So it definitely offers a lot of utility. Game is hard, but game is not over yet.
I would say the biggest drawback of the KotL Aghanim Scepter right now, though, is the most important part of the game is going to be coming up here when it hits nighttime. At that point, you lose the clear vision, you lose the healing effect, and we're going to be seeing Rosh spawning for perhaps the last time, and of course the fight for that final top lane of Barracks. So, all in all, Shazam still should be in a really good position to close this one out, but a lot of it comes down to positioning. Right now, the Force Desolator Guardian Gears Marana is trying to find and fish for that arrow.
Love it. Jump in from fun is a force forward for KotL leading into the Hex, but not enough firepower yet to get the finish there. Atune's going to pop his BKB, but the Roar will be the response there from Brax. Locks the big guy in his place, and that could render his BKB pretty much useless. Now they look to make their move. They jump in. Finger Excel, though, gets a nice heal up from his comrade. Sunstrike will catch up and take him down. Nicely done from Mr. MSS on that one. Infamous now going to be down a man. That's no Death Ward available to him. And they're going to have to do
no
this
borrowed time.
way.
The Abaddon could die so quickly here.
This is trouble. How are they going to keep him back? Good blast will come out, but the quick jump again from Fun. This one leads into KotL again. Axes are there, but he is still very good. And a mana leak on TC will force him back and into a Astral. Defensively, there goes Chaos Meteor. Good blinding light. Separates him a bit. Oh, Greedy burning up right now. He's in trouble. He's dead. TC even committing his BKB to go in there and get the finishing blow. A buyback will come out from Greedy. He TP's right back into the battle here. Is that enough for Shazam to step back and just wait out for the next Rosh? We'll have to see. They can taste the end of this game number 1. Even though 5 are now up from Infamous, they still want to stand and plant here.
And
Bang is way forward. Bang.
Oh.
Way too far forward.
Yeah, just tries to get the long range wave out there, clear out the next bit. But the big thing I was looking at is that Shazam have 2 big ultis, the Astral Imprisonment and now the Roar back off cooldown. And now without a Keeping the Light to deal with, it's high ground central for them. They are going to break the space, and they're going to do it in style.
Yep, Brax jumps in right over the wall, goes for the early Roar, forces KotL, man. He has just been absolutely stun locked with the arrow follow-up. They make their quick move, but not enough to get a finish yet. But that's the big hammer drop coming out from TC. Leads to a support takedown, leads to an Atune takedown. And I think that will lead to the game victory. And there it is. The call comes out from Greedy, and Shazam will take game number 1 of this best-of-5 grand final.
Man, really impressive showing from TC here on the OD. Of course, it's an entire team effort. There was some great movement from the supports, and especially under the Moonlight Shadow, they were able to make some really good fights happen. But overall, you know that TC is the true carry. Like, this guy was able to do so much damage this game. Just manning up when it was the perfect opportunity, ends the game 16-0 and 10, and that wasn't even his final form. He had like 3 more upgrades that he could go with item-wise to get to the full 7-slotted OD with the Moon Shard, and man, this guy was just tremendous from beginning to end. I can't wait to see what he brings to the rest of the best of 5.
We'll have to see if Infamous are going to be able to shake off game number 1 and try to at least prolong this grand final series. We'll cut to a break now, but when we come back, folks, it is grand finals of BTS Americas 4, Shazam versus Infamous. I'm KotLGuy, that's Blaze. We'll see you soon for game 2.